There is a conversation unfolding inside the Chargers facility that no single headline captures in full. It is scattered across Jim Harbaugh's carefully chosen praise, the players earning more reps, and the way certain competitions have started shifting before the preseason. Bolt fam, get ready. Today we are connecting those signals because 4 different stories all point to the same thing. This coaching staff is finding out who can be trusted once practice turns into a real game. If you track every Bolt's move, subscribe now and come take the temperature of this roster with me. The first signal almost slipped through the cracks, which is exactly why it deserves attention. Jim Harbaugh was asked about the competition at left guard. The question was not specifically about Jake Slaughter. Harbaugh brought the rookie into the conversation anyway. He said he really liked the weekend tape, pointed to Slaughter's growing confidence, and summed up the progress in one simple thought. Slaughter is starting to get it. Praise like that from Harbaugh rarely feels like an empty courtesy. He puts weight on what shows up on film, the detail a player repeats, and the response that comes after a correction. There is a behind-the-scenes layer to this one. When a coach voluntarily introduces a player into an answer, he is telling the reporters in front of him that the competition may not be where it appeared to be a few days earlier. Slaughter lost some ground during camp. Now he has put enough evidence on tape to make the staff take another look. Around 15 starters are expected to sit Thursday against the Houston Texans. Slaughter is not one of them. Based on the information provided, he is set to take the field and likely work at both left guard and center. That turns one preseason game into a 2-part evaluation. Driving a defender off the ball or surviving one isolated pass protection rep will not be enough. He will have to organize the calls inside, recognize changes across the defensive front, and show that the confidence Harbaugh praised stays with him when an opponent is allowed to hit the quarterback. I like that decision because draft status cannot hand a player the job, but it should buy him a real opportunity to prove he deserves it. The Chargers used a second-round pick on Slaughter. If he can legitimately compete at 2 positions, his path to helping right away becomes much wider. And for a roster still searching for its best interior combination in front of Justin Herbert, versatility is not a nice little bonus. It is protection against injury, uneven play, and the adjustments that will inevitably come during the season. The hidden part is the timing of the praise. Harbaugh could have kept his answer broad. Instead, he publicly made a point of the progress he saw. Slaughter now gets the stage to back up that reading. This competition was not settled in an office, and it was not settled by where each name appeared at the start of camp. It reaches game night with the door open again. The rookie has to walk through it without hesitation. Slaughter is trying to turn a rebound into trust. Akeem Messedor is carrying an even heavier demand. Show immediately why Los Angeles invested a first-round pick in him. The atmosphere around the rookie, though, does not feel like a player being crushed by that weight. He has regularly been one of the first players on the field, earned praise for his maturity, and accelerated his adjustment to new defensive coordinator Chris O'Leary's pass rush system. That matters because the Chargers did not draft Messedor to spend 2026 watching from the background. Odafe Oweh left for the Washington Commanders on a 4-year, $96 million contract, according to the story provided, and that production has to be replaced. Tuli Tuipulotu and Khalil Mack sit atop the depth chart on the edges, but a defense planning to hunt quarterbacks for an entire season needs more than 2 names. Messedor was selected to enter that rotation and change important snaps, even if he does not open the first game at the very top of the hierarchy. Then came the rep that started making the rounds among the people following camp. According to Chris Rim, Messedor may have delivered his best snap yet against Joe Alt during one-on-one drills. A one-on-one naturally gives the pass rusher an advantage and does not recreate every layer of help available in a game, so I am not turning one rep into a coronation. But beating a tackle at Alt's level shows that the tools that convince the front office can already surface against elite competition. Tuli also praised Messedor's attention to detail and how quickly he has absorbed the system. Power gets Messedor to the blocker. Understanding tells him which move to use and helps him preserve the integrity of the pressure. He has to keep connecting technique, strength, and discipline until the staff trusts him across different situations. If Messedor plays against Houston, he will have a chance to turn camp excitement into football with consequences. I want to see his response when the first move stalls, the way he pursues back inside, and whether he holds firm against the run. Sacks pull in the camera. Reliability keeps a rookie in the rotation. That is the real checkpoint. Camp can reveal the tools, the preparation, and the trajectory. A live game reveals whether those pieces stay connected when the pace changes, the script breaks down, and the offense finally pushes back. Messedor's rise is exciting because the internal signals line up. He arrives early, learns fast, wins difficult reps, and earns respect. Los Angeles needed immediate force along the defensive front. So far, this pick looks like a player pushing the timetable forward. The door to the back room gets narrower here. Tuli Tuipulotu has returned to full team activities after a stretch that looked like a hold-in, while the conversations about his contract remain away from the microphones. He spoke to reporters for the first time since camp began. Both Tuli and Harbaugh avoided putting a definitive label on what had been happening, and that choice of language says plenty without exposing the negotiation. Tuipulotu is entering the final year of his rookie deal. When the subject came up, he handed the business side to his agents and the people upstairs. Then he drew his own line. He is a football player, and that is what he knows how to do. The answer offers no deadline and no outcome, but it reveals the separation both sides appear determined to preserve. The people handling the deal keep negotiating. The player gets back to work with his team. But Bolt fam, here is where the story gets interesting. His full return changes the pressure around the conversation. While Tuli was limited, every absence fueled questions about the distance between the player and the organization. Now he is back on the field without publicly surrendering any leverage in the negotiation, and he can use his performance as an argument. For the Chargers, it restores a key starter while the new defensive system takes shape. For Tuli, it removes any idea that the contract situation will keep him from competing. The connection to the previous story is strong too. Messedor is developing behind a top pair of Tuli and Mac. The sooner Tuipulotu is fully integrated into a Leary system, the more freedom the staff has to develop the rookie without overloading him. A rotation with clearly defined jobs can preserve explosiveness into the fourth quarter and create pressure combinations that force an offensive line to decide where the help goes. The contract clock is still running. Every full practice lowers the immediate noise, not the importance of the decision. If Tuli raises his game, his price and the urgency could rise with it. For now, the message is sharp. The front office can handle the contract. He plans to strengthen his case on the field. While the starters pull most of the attention, one rep can redraw the bottom of this roster. The first unofficial depth chart listed Tarheeb still as a starter, with either Dante Jackson or Cam Hart opposite him. The media and public relations staff produced that list, so it is a temporary snapshot, not a ruling from the coaches. The next practice wasted no time scrambling the picture. Still was sidelined. Jackson answered with 2 interceptions, while Hart went after Ladd McConkey in press man coverage and used his physicality to contest space from the line. This competition has to be read in layers. Jackson brings experience and showed the instinct to turn mistakes into possessions. Hart offers size, contact, and a useful tool against receivers who try to control the rep early. Still appearing at the top of the list gets your attention, but the live reps continue to distribute the influence. The coordinator will need to mix route recognition, recovery ability, strength at the line, and turnover production based on the opponent. Anyone who can own several different assignments can earn snaps that change from one week to the next. Off the edge, Nudeme Tucker is creating an even more uncomfortable story for the players who started ahead of him. He was the only undrafted free agent who was not listed at the bottom of his position group on that unofficial depth chart. Then, during one-on-ones, he attacked veteran tackle Trey Pipkins straight through the chest and powered through the block. That does not secure a roster spot, but it explains why his name climbed out of the last row. The staff is seeing signs that no longer fit inside the category of a fun camp curiosity. Kyle Kennard is Tucker's most direct competition, and he had a strong day of his own, showing a more developed set of pass rush moves. This is where preseason football takes on brutal importance. Tucker has to prove his power still works when an offense can mix the run, play action, and protection help. Kennard has to show that his arsenal creates pressure without costing him his responsibility. Either player could create separation with defensive impact. Both will greatly improve their chances if they can also provide value on special teams. Inside, Tier Tart, Jamari Caldwell, and Justin Aboigbe continue to cause damage. Caldwell and Aboigbe are embracing larger roles. If that group can collapse the middle and keep quarterbacks from climbing the pocket, Mac, Tuli, Messedor, and the rest of the edge depth will attack from much more dangerous angles. The offense left clues too. Keandre Lambert-Smith has stacked several good practices and won during one-on-ones. Trey Harris adjusted his body on a back shoulder throw, even with Jackson stuck to him in coverage, and finished a spectacular catch. The Mike Williams memory naturally flashes through your mind. Harris, however, has to build his own role. I want the film room packed now. Chargers fans, put one non-starter in the comments who you will be watching against Houston, and tell me the detail that could win him more ground. This is not a popularity contest. It is roster evaluation. Maybe it is Tucker turning power into pressure, Kennard showing variety, Hart suffocating a route, or Harris winning a contested ball. Tell me who made you rewind the tape. This is where a story becomes actual roster construction. A page organizes the names. Harbaugh will organize this roster by what happens when the rep tightens up. Jackson brought turnovers. Hart brought contact. Tucker brought power. Kennard showed growth. Houston will not settle every battle, but it will finally attach consequences to the clues slipping out from behind the scenes. The internal picture is sharper now. Slaughter has regained ground. Messedor is accelerating toward an immediate role. Tuli returned to work without giving up his contract position, and the bottom of the roster has entered a competition where nobody's name offers protection. That is healthy only if the field keeps making the decisions. Los Angeles does not need to choose the best story. It needs trustworthy players around Herbert and a defense built for January. Subscribe to see who turns opportunity into a real role. Bolt fam, I need your opinion on this one. Which comes first? Clarity on the offensive line, Messedor's impact, Tuli's future, or defensive depth? Tomorrow, those clues could already be in a different order.